We are ready to roll. Ducks Don't Get Cold Feet, number 8. And we are here with John Purl. And it's been interesting, John. I've seen you. You're the other JP at the gym. Yeah, have you seen JP? Have you seen JP? He's a unit. And for a while, I thought it was me they were talking about. And then I was sadly mistaken for not being you. And so you're the machine at the gym.
There must be a third JP.
There has to be a third JP. Mate, I've seen you at the gym. You train like a psychopath. And I was like, yeah, I really just train to eat. So I would really like to do what you do, but it's good to see. Finally have you in here.
Yeah, man.
Talked about it for a while. I've been listening to your podcast, and I guess while you're on that, your podcasts are Strive 168.
Correct.
And where can they find those podcasts? Might as well get into it.
Yeah. So any place you download a podcast from, so on any of the apps you use, on iTunes, or just go to strive168.com and you can get the links on there.
So what do you predominantly talk about in your own podcast? Like, you're on the other side here now.
Yeah, this is cool.
So it's a little bit less stressful, I'm assuming.
You bring me water and food. That's something I don't do for guests.
Yeah, well, I've made the mistake of bringing crunchy things once before, and people can see that if they're watching, but you just ate the cricket energy bar, which is made out of cricket powder. So if the coronavirus continues like this, mate, I'm sure we'll be able to get our hands on plenty of cricket bars.
Mate, they're running out the shops. Like toilet paper.
Yep. But we're selling shitloads of it.
Hey, there it is. Thanks for coming, folks.
Didn't take long. But so
what are we
JP,
talking about?
So we're going to talk about anything, but you've got your own podcast as well. I have listened to quite a few of those already. Are you actually the one that sort of made me think, I reckon I might be able to go into podcasting? You mentioned you had one. And from then I just started to listen to yours. I thought, I'd love to do this. I think it's something I'll enjoy doing. But I guess let's hear a bit about yourself. Obviously, people know a bit too much about me, especially people listening to this. But you weren't born in Australia. You're an import. Is that true?
I am, fresh off the boat. Well, fresh off the boat like 30 odd years ago. UK born, family's born in the UK. Moved out here when I was 5.
Yep.
Did the whole thing, finished school when I was 18, decided I was going to go back to the UK and re-find my roots. And I got back there and realised it was freezing cold and terrible. So hopped back on the boat and came home. And, I've been here now for, 39? So I've been here for 34 years or something now.
Yep.
Most of my family is kind of split now. So I've got dad's family back in the UK and mum's family is all over here. So it gives me a good excuse to get back there, but can't beat the Aussie climate. So once you're there for a few months, the novelty wears off pretty quick.
Yeah, I think the UK is a great place to visit. You have to be very committed to live there.
Yeah, you've got to have a damn good job or a damn good reason to move to the UK. But
so growing up, let's go break it down a little bit. So growing up at school, were you into a lot of sports, or were you more academic, or you were a bit of a blend of both?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, when I was younger, I was probably more the academic. I was in all those extension groups for gifted children, and then when I discovered sports, probably in about year 8 or year 9 was when I really got into it. I quickly lost interest in academic stuff and paid all my attention to sport. So for me, it was like athletics and basketball, probably my 2 biggest ones. I'd have a crack at anything, but they were probably my main 2. And then as you got to about 14, 15, then you discovered the world of partying at a pretty young age, and then everything kind of fell away. I still played a heck of a lot of sports. That was still probably what kept me on the straight and narrow. But I think then I really lost interest in school pretty quickly.
So the age of 14?
At about 15, is when I really started getting amongst it, and 16 is when I started going out a bit younger than you should.
So that's here in Australia?
Yeah. So I went to school down at Henley, St Michael's down there. And for anyone from South Australia.
I played football for the Henley Sharks.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What, you a PAC boy?
Yeah, I'm a PAC boy.
Jeez,
and then,
that's controversial.
And then we were playing some club footy as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was good fun actually. Won a premiership with the Henley Sharks.
Serious club down there, the Henley Sharks.
Yeah, it was. It was great. I was my west. Was that east side? I think never east side. West. I'm a west side boy.
Never eat soggy wheat
Yeah,
bits.
that's what I was just doing there. So I'm a west side boy and went to school at PSC, but went and played footy with Henley Sharks. I enjoyed my football. So captain of the second 18.
Just drop that one in.
But, when you talk about, I can talk about that area because I used to live down that way as well. A lot of my mates are from Henley. And then pretty much Tennyson, that sort of.
Yeah, that's where I was. Tennyson. I grew up in Tennyson on CP Road.
Oh, my God. Well, my Tennyson Court.
Yeah.
So one of my best mates and I spent all of my upbringing there, running a mark, throwing eggs at cars, stuff like that. That was
we will have
I was
crossed
very young.
paths.
I was very young.
Immature phase.
Very immature. A lot's changed.
You're just doing it in the east side now.
but being, you've mentioned you went out and you're probably getting amongst it when you were a bit younger. I definitely had that experience. I found school for me, I did. Dad sent me to a school that Dad left at school in year 9 and he always wanted to make sure his kids had something better than he did. Lucky me, because I actually made it through year 12, so I'm very proud of that. But I was always learning about things other than school. I think it was a little bit tough for me the year 10, 11 and 12. I did what I had to do and I got through. Is that similar what you're saying here?
Yeah, spot on. I mean, I was asked to leave school probably like 3 or 4 times. Like I kept saying, why are you wasting our time? Why don't you just go and work? And then Athletes Carnival would come around and they're like, we need a captain. All right, don't do it again. So I pretty much made it through due to sports. But, I think upon reflection, I'm kind of glad I did make it through. I mean, you make some pretty good mates and it did help me set up kind of in the mind what I wanted to do later in life. But, I hated school. It wasn't really for me at that time. So I made it through and, I literally finished school and I didn't even get a high enough score to get into uni. Like I basically just bombed out and said, I've made it through, ticked the box. But it wasn't until 12 months after I'd finished school and I'd done the whole UK trip that I realised, that was a bad idea and I now need to work a way of getting myself back into uni.
What was it in the UK? I mean, far out, you think you were partying here. I'm assuming going to the UK...
That was a swim through.
Yeah, okay, as a swim through. So what part of that was like you thought I had to change what I'm doing, or I wanted to change? So something must have tipped.
Yeah. Look, it's a good point. I remember when I got back there, I just sort of said, let's just do some work. So I just, down the pub, and as happens in the UK for people that maybe have spent a bit of time there, some bloke in the pub said, do you want to work for this building company? And I said, sure, let's do that. I did. I did some building work, and I remember the first time it was my first week, and the guy's like, all right, now you've got to go pick up your pay slip. I'm like, all right, no worries. Where do we go to do that? I mean, I'm 18 years old. I have no idea what I'm doing in life. And he goes, we just go down to this pub and you'll meet the guy. And it was like a scene out of like Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Like I was just so out of my depth. And I walk in this dodgy pub. There's like boxing pitches everywhere. There's guys playing pool. It's all the gold jewelry. And I'm like, oh man. And it was like this guy sitting in a booth with a pile of money. And he's like, yeah, he's over there. Just go sit down and work out what you need for the week. And as an 18-year-old, I'm negotiating how much I should get paid in cash with some dodgy gangster builder guy.
Oh my goodness. Where's this? Is this the 80s?
Oh my God. It was like a scene of a movie. And I just remember getting my money and was like shaking like a leaf. I bought a beer and I'm like, just get me the hell out of here. And I did a bit more work for a different company, and then that was the catalyst for me. I was kind of standing in the pouring rain, digging a hole, and I'm just standing there going, "Nah, there's got to be something better than this. This isn't it for me." And that was the turning point where I went, "Nah, I need to study or start a business or both or something, and I need to be home to do that."
So you come back to Australia. First 19-year-old.
Yep.
So what were your plans then?
Yeah, so I started studying, went through TAFE, did accounting, went through there into uni, did commerce and finance, and then got out of that and started straight in wealth advisory. I think from day one I knew at some stage I was going to start my own business, but I went through the journey, from 2003, 2004, whenever it was I finished, through, investment banking and working at boutique firms and, working in Melbourne, working in Adelaide, and my career journey kind of progressed until I started my own business in 2014.
And what's that called?
Yeah. It is Affinitas Capital.
And that's where you're currently based. Is there partners in that? Or?
Yeah, so it's myself. I've just got 2 staff members.
Yep.
So we're doing well. Yeah, year 6 this year, which is cool. I think I knew probably much like yourself, I think at some stage you know that business is the direction for you. I tend to find it's people that are maybe more control freaks than others. So I am.
It's I don't think I'm a control freak. There are some things I think I'm pretty particular about, but I don't think I don't know.
The hardest skill, delegating.
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not getting nothing. So.
Just blank stares.
Blank stares from over there. I don't think so. I get some things in my head and I know I need to do that.
Yeah.
And I guess being on the other side, I started collecting trolleys and all that sort of stuff. But when you sort of make your decision and you've made that decision and built it yourself, one of the things that you talked about in one of your podcasts was you talk about being communicative with your people or knowing or getting to know or having a good relationship.
Yeah.
And that good relationship, would you like to expand on what that meant? Because I see it with work or whether it's a customer, having that relationship gives you the ability to talk to customers or not. How do you see that with wealth advisory?
Yeah.
Is that a good way to say it? Wealth advisory?
Yeah, I try to use that term more than financial planning. It seems so 1995 financial planning.
It sounds a bit old school.
It's pretty old school.
We all know a financial planner that's driving around in a car that's too good.
Yeah. I'm trying to remove myself from that part of the industry. Look, I mean, I guess for me, when I was in private banking, which was the last sort of role I had with one of the big four banks, and that was, again, on the wealth advice side, on the investment advisory side. And for me, I think the two key takeaways, knowing that I was going to start a business, is one, that the primary objective needs to be to build a relationship with the clients and a genuine relationship. And the second one is, how do I incorporate health and wellbeing into my business and my life? Because I was so hamstrung where I was, they wouldn't let me do anything, which I can kind of come back to. But with the relationship stuff, for me, it was a point of reflection going, what are my true values and what do I really want to be doing other than just churning out product and investments and just trying to get revenue on board with very little care for the clients? And so that was the catalyst for me leaving, was it became a volume-based business. So when I started up the Affinitas Capital, it was solely with the idea of going, I want low client numbers, but I want to know my clients inside out. It shouldn't be a case of I've got 500 clients and someone walks in the door and they're like, Bob Smith's here to see you. And you're like, who the hell's Bob Smith? I want to know my clients. I want to know their kids. I want to know their situation. I want to know their business. I want to know their accountant. And for me, that was probably the biggest thing for me. So to align with my true values and to align with building a business model, I think was probably where the industry needs to go, was a big part of it.
So knowing your customer.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about knowing customer. We talk about being customer-led.
Yeah.
In the past, we've probably been more supplier-led. And the trend that we're working for, and with the new warehouse coming through, it's very clear that we need to be led by our consumer, which for us is our customer. So we need to change the way we do things. That was one of the things I picked up on yours, was being very specific to, I want to know everything about my customers so I can give them the best possible experience that I know I want to do. And you mentioned the other two things, health and wellness.
Yeah.
How do you combine health and wellness? Are you talking personally for you, or with, like, let's say I'm Billy Ray and I come up for I want some advice.
Yeah.
And, I don't look after myself at all. I've got a bit of money behind me, but what do you advise? Are you saying, look, mate, you need to go to the gym, you got to lose some weight, you're not going to pass the physical? No, surely you don't.
How strong's the relationships? Yeah, some I have, right? Like,
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think objective one was, how can I bring that health and wellness into my space a bit more? How can I push the message out in other forms? And that's where Strive 168 came from. It allowed me to start the podcasting, and then I do some accountability coaching for people. It allowed me to do that, where you're kind of hamstrung when you work in, the big four. They don't like to see you doing anything other than, whatever they dictate. Correct.
Yeah.
So that's probably a number one, is it allowed me to build that part into the business. But the second part is, because of the strength of the relationships with clients, one, like attracts like, which is really interesting. So a chunk of my clients that I've picked up have come from health and fitness world. So there's people I train with. There's a client that I actually train with at his house every couple of weeks. Others have just come through from the CrossFit world who I've met in my travels. You know, me and a mate started a CrossFit comp about 5 years ago. We did a couple
Did
of...
you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Whereabouts?
All right, pause. So when I left the bank, you know how great ideas come out over beers?
Yeah.
So I was sitting
Most
there.
of them.
This was great. We were sitting there with a mate of mine, Greg Samuel, and we were sitting there and we were a couple of beers in and we said, you know what, there's a few good CrossFit comps in Adelaide, but geez, I reckon we could do it so much better. Yeah. We should do the biggest one in Australia. And we said, all right, let's do that.
So this is
2014.
Back.
So just as I was about to leave the bank.
So I got to ask the question, was there any documentaries on Netflix?
No.
Okay. So this is before it was Netflix flated.
Yes. Next Flickable? I don't know.
Next flick flated, like inflated.
Yeah.
I think I just created a new word.
Noted. Few beers in and we just said, let's have a crack at this. Let's create a competition. Let's pump some serious money into it. Let's make it bigger than what SA has experienced so far. And that's what we did. We sat down and our first event was called the Affiliate Super League. And I think we shut the website down, but we hired the whole of Collie Reserve down at Glenelg. We shipped in 14 tonne of gear from Brisbane. Major sponsors, minor sponsors. We had the biggest prize pool in Australia at that point. We fenced it in. We had a DJ. We roped off a whole section of Glenelg Beach for a stand-up paddleboard event. We flew athletes in from around Australia and put them up down at Glenelg.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So who won?
It was a guy called Nathan Beeves out of Sydney. And then who won the female? Can't remember. But there
was no James Newbury?
No, he was injured. Devastating.
Wow.
Yeah, Jay Newbury. I'm always remembering that, buddy. Don't you worry. But it was awesome, man. Like it was the most stressful thing I've ever done. You know, I guess because we came from finance world, we structured it a little bit more professionally than other events. So we had sponsorship packages, we had gold, silver, bronze, we had naming rights, we had all this sort of stuff. So that's why we could give away some serious prize money compared to what these other comps were doing. And I think we dropped 50 grand on it.
So did you make money?
No, lost money on the first one.
Yeah.
The second one we said, all right, let's go again. We're going to do this. And I think we did it. I think it was about 9 months later. We tried to do it in 2015, I think it was. And I don't know if you know the IGA that is opposite the old gym in the city.
On Gillies Street.
On Gillies Street. At the back, there's a massive warehouse.
Yeah.
So for the second event, we thought, okay, let's make it a bit different again. And we made it like a UFC match. So what we did was, plus we made it boozier. So we got it sponsored by a brewery. That was the money-making ticket. And it was awesome. So in a nutshell, we just okay, let's roll the dice again. Let's do this. We put a big a ring in the middle of the whole warehouse. We had seating around it. You could buy tables around the event as well.
So this is a UFC event?
No. It's still CrossFit, but we set it up like UFC. So we had this ring in the middle where people would compete in this big 4-person rig. And it started with whatever it was, 20 people, and it narrowed down to the finals. And so you'd make money on every stage you got through. So every level you won, you'd win $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, until you won $1,000 in the last one or something.
That's cool.
But then it was all under lights. So the last one was at night time, and we had the two guys, the last one's going to head under lights with pitch black, just kind of facing each other, doing a big battle off. And we made money on that one at least.
Wow.
But then we realised this isn't going to pay the bills.
I was going to say, you put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, it was pretty serious. It was pretty cool.
That's cool.
There was a lot of drunk
ahead
people.
of its time. And now they just hire out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, next one. We looked at hiring the entertainment centre. They wanted $25,000 though, so we said no. But anyway, there you go.
Wow.
I digress.
Okay.
So getting back.
So you actually you practice what you preach.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that was, we're both entrepreneurial, we're both business people, we're both passionate about fitness, and we thought, well, hell, it'd be good to say you've done something like that once. So we ticked it off the bucket list, and we probably never do it again. Now with kids and family, I'd be shot if I think I tried to suggest doing another one.
Yeah, I think I'd come under enormous stress as well.
Yeah. So now the full-time focus really for me is, I think growing the business, growing the team, like I said, growing the client base, but we don't grow it rapidly. I turn clients away that aren't the right fit. Either whatever our service is, we might not need to be able to offer them what they want, and we have others in the network that we'll send them to, and then from the health and wellbeing side, that's right, we'll go back to that. You build up strong enough relationships with people that you can have pretty open and frank discussions with someone, and sometimes I think the biggest one for me is having a conversation around stress and workload and family. So I'll happily tell someone that I'm obviously see how much they're working, especially if they're doing insurance applications and stuff. How many hours are you working in a week? Oh, probably 60 or 70. And they kind of wink, and you're like, right, okay.
So what's that mean?
Well, they're probably doing 100 hours a week.
Okay.
So once you build up a good relationship with someone, you can sort of have those conversations. And most definitely, it's not everyone. I mean, I wouldn't say every single client I'm telling them to cut down the booze and to get into the gym, but it's more, I think. Once you get to that point in the relationship and you can say, geez, I noticed you're still working a lot. Like, how's the stress at the moment? How's everything at home? And you can have those conversations because you've got that almost friendship with a lot of the clients as well.
So do you really think there's a way of telling if someone's working too much?
I don't think I can ever tell them. I just try to have the conversation with them about the sort of workload and just say, look, geez, you sort of seem to be working. I'm getting emails from you at 2:00 in the morning. You're just super busy at the moment. Geez, do you reckon this will continue? How's work going? How's business going at the moment? And you just start to have conversations kind of like this, and they'll say, oh, it's been manic. I've been working 70 hours a week for the last 6 months, and I don't think it's going to get any better. And you can start, when you see them frequently enough, which is what I do. I see most of my clients pretty regularly. You can tell, you can see when someone's had a decline, or you can see when someone's more stressed than when you saw them last time.
So do you, I personally, I think I feel when I'm tired.
Yeah.
Right? I feel when I think I'm burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
And for me, that just takes a bit of a reset, maybe a couple of extra earlier nights, chill out and doing something. Don't work or don't watch Netflix or whatever I do to make sure I start to pin the bed a bit earlier. And I think I can feel it. But do you think everyone has that ability?
Nah, because I think some people don't understand what feeling good feels like until they actually feel good. So they've been running at such a high level for so long, or they've been tired for so long, or they've been eating badly for so long that, I've had a headache for the last 4 days, but, that's normal. Well, no, it's not normal.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what normal should feel like. So I think you've got the ability because, through your own self-awareness, perhaps through the training, right, that you can listen to your body and you feel your body, you know how to reset. But you'd be surprised how many people don't. They just figure, I'll push through. But the body can't push through. The body needs that downtime. It needs that reset. It needs proper refueling. But not everyone's aware of that. It's really scary how many people aren't aware of that.
So are you a big sleep person? Have you done research to know that I need this amount of sleep, or is it just a feeling?
Look, I mean, the numbers say that 7 hours is now the required amount. It used to be 8, seems to have come down to 7. I think it's a physical thing as well. Like you said, I think you can feel, like I know that yesterday I was really tired because I only got about 5 hours sleep the night before because the little one was up. So I didn't train. I was like, well, if I train, it's just dangerous. What's the point?
Be more tired.
I'll be more tired. I'll probably injure myself. There's no point. So I think people can handle variations of the amounts of sleep that you can have. If some people can survive on 6 pretty fine. Some people need 8, or they're just awful to be around. But the magical number is like 7. But I think it's, again, everything accumulates and compounds, right? It's just like investing. Everything compounds over time. And if you lose an hour every night over the week, well, then you've lost 7 hours sleep. That's a whole night you've lost. You do that for a month or 2 months or 3 months.
Yep.
You start tallying up how many days you've lost in sleep, and how much time that means the body's not had to rest and recover. And it's pretty scary.
Yeah, it's no doubt. I think that's the fear. I think I was at like a 5 hour, and then I was like, through school, through everything, it was really minimal. My old man sleeps very minimal too.
Generation difference.
And I'm like, maybe it's just me. So I've tried, since coming back from Japan, I've tried to sleep. I'm going for 7 hours. That's what I've been. And I think I feel better, I think. So it's about a month now. But it's just the way of feeling. I think you need to be aware of how your body feels. And maybe you're right. Maybe not many people actually figure that out. I don't know. I think I listen to myself enough to go, or know when I might need to sleep in. As simple as that.
Yeah, one of the scariest expressions I know people use a lot is "she'll be right," and it's so damn dangerous because they'll say, "I'm really tired. I'm feeling a bit run down, but she'll be right," and it's like, nah, it won't be right if you got to listen. Yeah, you got to listen. And just from a perspective of, yes, physically your body needs to rest and recover, right? But obviously just from how good's the quality of work you're putting out? If you're, got brain fog and you're not thinking straight, how good is your attention span with your kids or with your partner if you're not really there because you're kind of half out of it? It's the flow and effects into everything else in life. And then people still go and train. I must train because, I know I must be healthy and fit, but I've only had 4 hours sleep the last 3 nights, but let's go run, 10Ks.
Yeah, I definitely, and I think anyone on whatever level, whether it's having kids or just being up late, to get that feeling. And you're right. I function far better when I work out, and don't hide. I train to eat, so I love eating all sorts of food.
Crickets,
some of it good. Crickets, low sugar, Atkins diet, chocolate, whatever is in front of me. But I do train to eat.
Yeah.
But I feel so much better, mentally stronger when I do I do CrossFit or now Soul 365. Yeah, Soul's 365. And to me, that's all at like 20 minutes or 30 minute, that's probably the workout time.
Yeah.
And automatically I feel a lot better. And I think I worry the guys up here, if I've been worked out, they can tell because I'm way more hypo.
If that's possible.
No, it is.
There, finally, see, I'm getting nods.
It is. But mentally, I feel far stronger and a lot to deal with anything that gets thrown at you. Literally overnight, we're getting our shelves cleaned out by people buying toilet paper because of the panic of the coronavirus. If there wasn't all that panic, it'd be fine. But then you have to deal with that situation, and it could be anything. You've said you might not be able to sleep at night with kids. Anything can happen to you that you need to be able to regulate yourself to go, I'm actually in the best possible condition to handle it. And trust me, I have plenty of bad possible, maybe drinking wines or whatever on the weekends or whatever I'm drinking at the time doesn't make up for that. But if I train Monday, then it's all forgotten in my terminology. It's pretty simple. No?
And I think you make a good point about dealing with situations as well. Like if you're run down and you're tired, you're not going to deal with a situation like that, where someone's coming in and clearing out your shelves of, hand sanitizer because they're worried that they should be bathing in the stuff because of coronavirus. Idiots. You're going to snap. People will snap, and there's a level of acceptable and unacceptable, and that's in any field, right? Like I could be the same. Client could do or say something, or probably more so a product provider rings you and says this hasn't happened, and I just go absolutely off my face at them. But it's like, well, hang on, is that because I'm just not dealing with this right because I'm not in the right frame of mind right now?
And I think, let's face it, children get you there.
Oh, they get you right there, and some.
And you realise, if I've come home after work and I can see when Natalie's at her, she's at the end of it, and it's like, whoa, babe, hang on, it's okay, it's really good. So these kids, you can actually feel it, and you can see how, parents, and I'd say especially, I can't even imagine bringing up a child by yourself if you're a single parent. It would be absolute manic, and you can just see how they wear you down.
Yeah.
And the kids are so mentally strong. Little ones anyway. Hey, Ollie. Like, so the younger ones seem to be like a lot stronger in their mind, and they don't actually, because if you don't give them the rules, and children, you know, they're kind of like dogs, really. They need a leader because they want to be led. And if you're not doing that at home, or you catch you on a weak moment, like, oh, Dad, can I have a lolly? And you're like, oh, yeah, because you just can't be bothered dealing with it. That's when that's an example with children. That's no different in business. When someone gets you at that weak point, whether it's a staff member or whether it's a customer, you know, you have to be prepared. And if you're not mentally strong, I don't think you can prepare for that. And
no.
How did you learn that? How did you learn? When did you think? Because you did enter CrossFit.
Yeah.
And I think when was your last? You got to the CrossFit. You were aiming for the CrossFit Games or something, were you?
Oh, when I was probably maybe four years ago or so, before I got really injured, I was going to have a crack at the regionals. Yeah. Maybe I was miles off. Maybe I wasn't. I don't know. But I took it pretty seriously then. Then I had a pretty big injury, which then made me realise CrossFit doesn't pay the bills. I need to focus more on life. So training became more of a method to maintain my lifestyle than something any more serious than that. But I think for me, it's been a journey of just, you know, experimenting and trying different things, sort of hacking my way through some ideas just to get the best sort of performance. And I use that then through the business, through clients, through the coaching work I do with people. So it can be everything around like food. It could be sleep hack techniques to get good sleep, all that sort of stuff that I've been using and trying over the last probably 7 years. And overlaying that into business or into other people's businesses, so people that run a business or, you know, are really, you know, pushing senior roles, and saying to them, you know, okay, well then let's look at the other factors that can help improve output.
So what would be your normal week for you for physical activity wise? What would be, don't bore us to tears of the whole lot, but a Monday to Sunday sort of effort, what's your fitness week look like?
My number's four.
Hey, you look like you run a fair bit, or is that riding?
Riding, yeah. I started riding because I injured my back, so I tried something different, so I've got onto that. But no, 4 days a week is my number. Like I've just, you know, everyone thinks you must train 6-7 days a week, and it's like, well, I used to train 6, but now, you know, 2 kids, running a business, I don't have capacity to do that. So 4 days a week is my number. The 4 days will make up of anything that I can get in. It might be a couple of days of riding. It could be a couple of days in the gym. It could be 3 days in the gym. It could be a run. Just mix it up. I just need to get my 4. Yeah. That's 4 is my number. You know, that's my time to clear the head as well. It's my time to, you know, think about stuff as well. So no, that's sort of it. I don't push the envelope of trying to train 6 days a week. And you know, like yourself, and we've spoken about in the past, the importance of family and being there with your kids and stuff like that. I mean, if I got up and I leave the house every day at about 7:20 to go to work, and if I did that plus train every afternoon, I'd never see my kids. So no, 4 days, that's it. That's all I do.
I'm 3 days.
Perfect, right? It's whatever works.
And it works. Like,
that's the main thing.
I look at myself now, albeit it might be a mirror from the circus. I look pretty good. And I'm happy.
That's the key word. That's the key word.
I was training more when I was in Queensland. I was training 5 to 6 days a week. And that was hard work. And I was like, and always something niggling the whole time. And then coming back, I was just so much easier. I leave before the kids get up. So if I'm not there in the morning, I'll be there at night. If I'm not there at night, I'll be there in the morning. So it's sort of the trade-off. And it's an easy trade-off because fitness is the hard part. I almost have to be dragged to get into fitness. I enjoy it when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing stuff by myself, I need someone going, come on, do this, do that. All right, another round, another rep. I'm like, if that was me at home, I'd be like, oh, sweat. Yeah, okay, I'm done. But I love training. So it's really bizarre that I've talked my mind into thinking I need that.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Well, that's one thing I say to people is when it comes to training, just do what you enjoy. Don't do what everyone else does because you won't stick to it. So people that feel I have to get fit and healthy and they're like, they're going to join up at a gym. It lasts for like 2 months. Like, I hate that, so I'm never going back. Or they get into cycling because everyone, you know, in the office is into cycling, but they hate cycling. Yeah. I was like, well, don't do it. If you like badminton, do that. Yeah. Do whatever you enjoy. Then you'll actually stick to it and you won't mind going as much.
Yeah.
That's one big one.
And that's the thing, if you can combine it with family as well. So I've just started, I'm going for my yellow belt tonight, Taekwondo with the kids.
Hey, just take it easy, all right?
Hey, look out, everyone. Look out, because to me, that's good family time and a bit of exercise. So that's that's the perfect combination, getting some exercise with your family. My girls are really young at the moment, but, getting them onto the bikes, for instance, will be the next thing where you'll might be able to take them mountain biking or anything like that. So, the girls already have their yellow belt, just for the record. I'm going for mine now. So I have not. Yeah, it's probably because I wasn't here. But hey,
are they competitive? Are they going to go for the next one before you?
I don't know. Mate, they're learning Korean. Oh my god!
What?
They know Korean because they say it at the gym. So you have to count to 20 and. Yeah, don't ask me. Don't say. Yeah, I got a bit, but they're not going to be able to kick my ass, by the way, if anyone's worrying about that.
You can take them down.
I can take them down quite comfortably, unless they maybe gang attack or something. But moving on, you talk about some things in business that you've been. Has there been anyone in your life that's been able to help you with this process to get to what you're doing? Because the reality is to finish year 12 maybe, or whatever you did, then not go to uni and sit there and go, geez, I want to come up, I want to be in finance. So you did a fair stint in finance, in banking, and then you go out on your own. I mean, that's a pretty remarkable step out.
Yeah.
Do you have people that's helping you, or you're like, no, I think I'd be good at this? Or is that how it worked?
Yeah, it was interesting. So I decided to quit the bank 2 weeks before my wedding. So I had 5 coffees with people that morning. My 5th one was with my wife-to-be, and I was shaking like a leaf because I've had 5 coffees. And I'm thinking about quitting and starting a business. And so it was a pretty gutsy move off the bat. But, the thing for me, and I still have one now, and I encourage everyone to do it, is have a mentor. I've had one probably since 2011. And you'd be surprised, and through podcasting, the people that we meet, I'm yet to find too many people that if you ask them, would you consider spending some time mentoring me? Mindful, it's not a 7-day-a-week job. You take a bit of a dial in once a month or something. No one said no yet. Everyone tends to be pretty receptive and is willing to offer their time. So I've had a mentor for 9 years, and it's been different people along the way as my journey's changed. I've got one now who's formerly the head of private bank for CBA, and he's been great and really helping me through the evolution of the business. I've had senior advisors who've worked in different firms help me as I started my advice career, and as I started a business, I started speaking to people and asking people for help. So, yeah, having a mentor has been huge, and I encourage that for clients, and I encourage it for anyone that's starting a business as well.
So it's interesting that you're changing your mentors depending where you are in your cycle.
Yep.
A lot of people actually don't do that. They pick a mentor, and then you might outgrow that mentor. You might not step past that, or you might step over that. But you don't get to move on if you just don't keep aiming higher. Do you look at it like, I just need to be aiming higher? You've made it very clear you want boutique, you want the relationship, and that's important to you and your business. Is that something that you thought of you would change, down the track? Would you want to go, I want to scale now, or that's not going to be what you want for what you in your mind you've set out to do?
So from a business perspective, there is a size that I want to grow to, and a size that I want to build the team up to. And it's most definitely not a Goldman Sachs. I don't want to be some enormous behemoth business. I think for me, keeping that it's kind of like a family office concept. So I want it to be small and intimate with that good group of clients. And so I've got the idea of what I want it to look like. And I just find through the journey of meeting new people, through talking to yourself and meeting people through your journey, just cool people come across the radar. And I don't know, like with podcasting, as you probably find out, you have to just ask people the question, hey man, can I borrow an hour of your time to do an interview? And it's the same sort of thing with getting a mentor. If I meet someone that seems really cool and I think they could add value, I'll just say, look, hey, could I run some stuff past you? And again, I've been lucky that I haven't had any no's yet. But it just tends to evolve depending on the people I come across.
With fitness, you've mentioned a bit about you've mentioned CrossFit, cycling.
Yeah.
Is there any other? Were you ever into team sports, or have you predominantly been a single Like no team sport. What is it? Individual person or what?
Yeah, selfish sportsman. No, I played basketball for a lot of years. I played soccer for a lot of years. I think I probably just always enjoyed the individual stuff. So I was always, like relay and running, stuff like that in athletics. And then CrossFit, I guess, it being an individual sport. But I don't know why. Good question. I don't know if it's because I don't want to let others down or if could be.
Yeah, do you think that's what you're thinking?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly.
Or you're thinking, to me, team sport involves far greater commitment than you doing your own fitness.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
So if I was playing baseball for a while, but when I came, we were doing winter ball, and I could only play every second Saturday, which was kind of unfair for the people that were training every week and whatnot. And to me, I was like, it's a little bit selfish, even though that was the rules. And I said, look, I can't do anything in this. I felt like I was letting the team down. And in the end, I stopped playing the winter ball for that reason, was that I felt that I was letting them down every second week. To me, a team sport is a lot more commitment. Yeah. And if it's football or whatever it is, and if you're not there because of work, because work's probably going to be more priority than fitness, that's what I think with individual sport. And that's probably why you do it. You can control your own time.
Yeah, correct. Like, if you don't get training in for a couple of days, you want to do a quick hour, you can't ring the guys up and say, hey, pop around for a quick kick around my back garden for an hour.
The whole team comes around. No, totally get it. And that's probably what I see. You talk about wanting to push yourself physically and mentally. What is it that you've got planned to be able to do? When you say pushing yourself, we had James in here, we had Newbury here the other week, and he talked about getting to a place where he would push himself to, what he'd say, a dark place where he knew it couldn't get any worse, because he said, I've done this workout before, I know how it feels, my body will recover, I will be fine. And when he said that, I was like, wow, that's a very simple way to look at pushing yourself to beyond exhaustion.
Yeah.
And he just thought it was quite normal for that sort of mentality. Do you see yourself wanting to push yourself when you say you want to push yourself, you want to push yourself harder than that?
No, not that. James is a unique individual, right? Like, I mean, I've known him for 7 years now, and I've watched the evolution of James Newbury, and he's the only person that I know that knows his body so exactly and so specific of every element of his body, from what goes in to what comes out to performance. He can push himself right into that pain cave, and he has this amazing mental ability to just withstand everything, knowing exactly what the outcome's going to be physically to him. It's just incredible to watch someone like that. Most people get to, they call it the pain cave, right? Like I think you might have said, like, you get to it, you knock on the door, you stick your head in, and you're like, no, that's good, I'll stay out here. Whereas he'll just dive in head first, knowing that she'll be right. Yeah. And he does, and it's incredible to watch because he knows the outcome. But so I think for me, it's more, I've always liked to push, whether it's at work. I mean, I think looking at it from even starting up a business, I mean, that's an element of pushing it. Many people would just be happy to clock in at 9, leave at 5, get the paycheck, happy days. Whereas I'd rather push it and have a go. I look at what you've done and what Drake's as a business has done. It's the same sort of concept, right? It's grow and push and develop and grow and push and develop.
Yep, exactly.
So from a business perspective, it's the same thing. I just want to grow and push and develop, and to do that, I need to be operating well. With training, not every day is a crazy day. Sometimes I just want to go out and have some fun, but I don't mind giving it a good nudge every now and then. It lets you know where the body's at. But I definitely now, I'm a bit older, I'm 39 now, I'm probably a little bit wiser. I don't know my body as well as James, but I know enough that, okay, it's probably a bit silly for me to go any harder here. I feel like I've pushed it, and I feel like I've gone as hard as I could without going too far, because that's what happened to me, feels like 4 years ago. I don't know, I pushed beyond where I knew my body could probably go, but physically and mentally I could do it. I knew I could do it. I just pushed through, knowing that probably going to be a pretty bad outcome here, but we'll see what happens. And I did it. And so what I did was, like, the GHD machine.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know, picture kind of like the Matrix move where you kind of go like that.
Yep.
It's kind of like that, except I did it 150 times and I'd never done one. Crackle and crunch.
Yeah,
Crackle and crunch. You're making me hungry though. More crickets.
I've got more.
So I did that. I did that matrix move like 150 times, and I completely tore my core to shreds. So I had what's called rhabdomyolysis. And
sorry,
yeah.
What's that?
So you know the GHD machine. You go.
Yeah, like so. But
yeah,
people that don't know, anyone that watches this will put something up. But
yeah,
you're lying with your legs tucked in, and you literally do a sit up
all the way to the floor.
All the way to the floor.
So you hyperextend your core.
Yeah,
yeah. So I'd never done any in my life, and I decided to do 150 of them as part of a workout. So mentally and physically, I know I've got it in me. I can do that. Like I can push the body beyond it. It's probably breaking point, which is what I did. Now I'm probably a little smarter, and I know stop here. And I didn't. I pushed through. I got the 150 done. I got a great time. I was super excited. And then my kidneys started shutting down, and I started pissing brown. And
really?
Yeah. I got rushed to hospital after like 6 days, and they're like, "My God, what happens is." When you hyperextend the muscles, right? So the biggest one to go is the core because it's so easy to hyperextend, right?
Yeah.
But you can do it from pull-ups, so through your lats and your biceps. So
I will never have this problem.
It is only a problem, people, if I'm scaring the hell out of anyone. If you start doing like more than like 100 odd of something, or if you see 150 or 200 of something, don't do it. There's no value. There's no upside there.
Wow.
So I basically disintegrated the muscles, and when a muscle breaks down, it secretes a toxin. So whenever we train, right, your muscles break down a little bit, and it secretes this toxin, and it flushes through your kidneys, right? I think part of it is called your creatinine level. And, typically you just drink water and you flush it out in happy days. But if you break them down so far, it throws so much of this toxin through your body, it just starts accruing in your kidneys, and your kidneys start shutting down. So I think a healthy level of creatinine in the body is somewhere between 300 and 400 parts per whatever.
Yeah.
I did it, couldn't stand up for days, thought, oh, well, I've just got really bad DOMS in my stomach, went to the Grand Prix, drinking beers, happy days, started pissing black, went, that's not great, came home, went to the doctors, got a blood test, got a phone call at 9 o'clock that night. He's like, you need to go to emergency. You don't have time to go to public. You need to go to private because you can't line up. You need to get hooked up to a machine right now. I'm like, okay. So off I trot to St Andrew's Hospital, I think it was, and they hooked me up, and it was that close to being hooked up to a dialysis machine because my kidneys were starting to shut down. And the level they detected in my blood at that point, so that's like 6-7 days after doing the exercise, was 30,000 parts. So they said I would have been well over 100,000 parts per whatever. Like,
oh, I can't. So did you know at the time? Like when you finished the hunt, you're like, yeah, I'm the man. Yep, kind of. Yep.
Never had heard of rhabdo. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know how you got it. You rarely hear about it because most people don't get it. And it wasn't until after I did it and I went through it all, I researched the hell out of it and realized how close I was to my kidneys shutting down. So, and that was like the turning point for me of going, all right, I need to change my training. And it happened like 3 times after that as well. So I had to go to emergency like 3 times after that. Because of my core, I hadn't fully rebuilt, and I went back to training and I didn't even do sit-ups. I was just engaging the core, and they still hadn't rebuilt enough, and it broke down again. It took me like 9 months to recover.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was the next day bad. Like, you know how you go, oh, you're sore, and the next day, like you go wakeboarding for the first time, and the next day you're like, oh.
I can't move my arms with T-Rex arms.
Yeah. Is that was it like that? Was it 2 days, or was it slowly getting worse?
It was like, 2 days after, and it got worse for like 4 days. Like the second day was like, the first day post the workout was pretty sore, and I was struggling to stand up. And then the second day after, I was like doubled over, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And stupidly, rather than just letting it relax, I'd extend out to try and stand up and just stretch it. So I just kept re-stretching these muscles that were trying to refuse. And it was just crazy. It's good times. Don't do it, people. Don't do it.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably the most serious injury though.
So do you have any dietary things that you're vegetarian or vegan, or do you have you live by a certain way, or do you mix it up? Are you flexitarian? Or are you just...
Flexitarian.
Yeah, or do you just eat anything? Or do you have any things that you're passionate about in regards to food?
No, not a lot. I mean, I for me, though, I think the overarching theme for me is always just eat clean, eat healthy, and don't beat yourself up when you have a treat. So there's a guy that I interviewed, Tim Robards. I think he's on Neighbours now.
Really?
He was like The Bachelor about a few years ago. And
what's his name?
Tim Robards, the Greek Adonis. Check him out. Shredded as all heck. Can you find him?
Okay, I got him.
Yeah. That was a 10-pack on the guy. So
he was on The Bachelor.
Yeah. So I went to Sydney and I caught up with him to do a podcast. And so he was a chiro as well and really into like health and well-being. And that's kind of what we spoke about, was balancing a busy life with health and well-being.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like Strive. A lot of the podcast was speaking to business owners and people that were really busy and how they balance that with health and well-being. But he's got this really cool way of thinking about it, is 70-20-10. So 70% super clean, 20% clean, and 10% relaxed. So you're not saying...
So it's not 70... 20, 10, 70, no, relaxed.
That'd be nice.
20%
donuts.
And then 10% super.
No, it's 70-20-10, which I think when you think about it,
70-20-10.
it's not so bad, right? Like if you can eat most of your meals that are pretty healthy, right? Like meat and veg and fish and veg and fruit and quality, eat organic where you can. Keep the intake of meat down a bit. We probably do eat too much meat. I have meat almost in every meal. I went vegetarian for like a month and realised, that's not for me, but it made me realise I ate too much meat. But it makes you realise, if you have a cake or if you have a few beers and a burger, like, don't shoot yourself. Life's okay. We're going to be all right. Yeah. It's when that becomes a daily occurrence you've got to start worrying about things. So I don't eat a certain way. I get frustrated with now how vegan is trendy and it's cool. Yeah. Yet you see these people going, oh, I'm vegan, yet they're wearing leather shoes and had a leather handbag. I started an argument with like a 60-year-old woman in a cafe about 12 months ago on Hutt Street because she held up the whole queue at this cafe and she's standing there front. I'm starving, so I'm hangry now. Yeah, I'm standing there and she's lining up and she's looking at all the food in the glass cabinet. And she's like, I just wondered what you have that is vegan friendly because I'm vegan. And the guy's just like rolling his eyes. I'm just standing there getting very hangry. And she's like, oh, what about that? What's in that? Because I'm vegan. And he's like, yeah, this and this. And she's like, well, what about this salad? It looks lovely because I'm vegan. And I'm just standing there going, just order something because you're not vegan, because you have a leather bag and leather shoes. Order some food. And she just looked at it disgusted. The guy was wetting himself laughing. But vegans that aren't vegans. No, just eat from however makes you feel healthy, but eat clean where you can. Organic's a good one though. We lose a lot of minerals.
There's no doubt after James Newbury, he made me think, you know what, I want to eat more plant-based. And then The Game Changers, I watched that and that's very biased, but I thought, wow, all these fit dudes, they don't need, that was with James. That was the first time I realised you don't need meat to be fit. And
don't need bacon in
I reckon I'm not saying the brightest spark out there, but I'm thinking, wow, I thought you needed meat. And I went, okay, I'm going to try to eat more vegetables and plant-based.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like vegan, like no dairy or not that. Yeah, so I thought, no, I'm going to try and eat more vegetables. So we changed our diet for sure. And at home, I'm used to eat meat. I would almost say every meal, like if I could sneak a bacon egg sandwich in, I would. Mm-hmm. So I changed that and went plant-based. And I don't care if it's dairy or anything or eggs, but I've noticed that I don't mind it. I actually thought, like, I'm eating meals now going, I can't believe there's not meat in it. And my mind of thinking I needed a protein for every single meal I had to fuel me, it changed. And that's James, just to him, because I hadn't looked into it as much as listening to someone, not trying to preach to you, not try to, you're right. There is a big problem about people trying to think it's really cool. I don't know how cool being a vegan is, to be honest, but who cares? But I've chosen to eat more plant-based, and I actually really enjoy it. The other interesting thing is that the kids don't mind it. Yeah, I got one of my daughters. She thinks she's vegetarian, but she's not. She just, for some reason, we showed her well, those cows are going to be slaughtered and the chicken, and she's seen on National Geographic and, what's happening? Oh, that's, she knows the whole cycle. She's like, oh, I don't want to eat meat. And, she'll have chicken sausages and she'll have all this other stuff, but she's a vegetarian. So I hope she doesn't become a vegan. I'm a vegetarian, but she's 6 years old.
Chicken's a vegetable, right?
Well, so for me, it's about trying to be a bit more healthier. I have enough unhealthy habits to think that if I can concentrate on most of my meals being quite healthy, then if I do have ice cream, chips, hot chips, potato chips, dips, let's not talk about things that are bad for me. I'd be a lot better. But in the end, I think it's about how you feel. And if you feel good about yourself or you feel like you're in a good space, I think that's enough. And my example of I weigh myself because I want to be around the 80 mark, right? And it depends how much water you have and all those sort of things. But 80 is sort of where I feel comfortable 80. When I was training really hard, I was at 75 and I used to look a fair bit, a little bit better. But when I sit there and I go on a holiday, so we just come back we had a ski trip in Japan. We had beers for lunch. We ate ramens for lunch. We had, sushis. We had lots of, there was meats and that, so I wasn't starving myself. I wasn't going vegetarian. I ate whatever we had, drank a fair bit of booze, not over the top, but a fair bit of booze, came back exactly the same weight.
Yeah.
And I was like, why every time I go away? And I put it down to maybe that's because I'm more active. So you're on the slopes all day, or if I'm on any other holiday, I'm walking around somewhere where if you go to an office and you sit at a desk and you walk to the coffee machine or back, you can only do so much exercise doing that. So for me, I've noticed almost no matter what I eat, I stay about the same weight, but I'm making smarter decisions in regards to what I am eating. And that's just a conscious effort, but I feel better about it, even if that's just in my mind.
Yeah. Look, I mean, people just check out these things called the blue zones, right? It's like these specific places where people are living to 1,000 years old. They're just, everyone's 100 in these places.
Yeah.
You look at the way they eat and it doesn't typically conform. They're all vegans. They're not all plant-based. They're having wine and siestas. They're having rice a lot of the time in the Asian blue zones. It doesn't conform to what we all perceive we should be doing as a way of eating. But what they are all is active.
Yeah,
they're all walking around. They're all farming. They're all planting crops. They're all doing this sort of stuff.
But they're with groups of people and they're having fun.
And fun is a huge part of it, and they're enjoying food. And food is a family. It's getting the family together. It's an event. It's not sitting in front of the TV watching. I don't even watch TV anymore. Whatever's on. Ballers. Maths. Shoot me now.
Who would watch that? I can't believe people watch that.
Did you watch it last night?
Did you see last night? Oh my God.
But you're right. Don't plonk yourself down in front of the TV and eat food with your kids. Make it an event and have fun with it.
Correct. And my girls are just 6 and 5 now, so we can eat together at the table, where before they had their mini table, they were eating earlier, but now they're actually, we want to eat together because it's that. We had Jason Roberts here as a chef. We did some cooking shows that we'll be releasing soon, some plant-based ones actually, but with protein alternatives. But talking to him about food, he's Italian. Is he Italian? No, I reckon he is. Didn't ask him, but let's say he is. And he was passionate. When you heard him talk, it was just sitting from him. When he started to talk about food and the environment that it creates, the good times, the memories, you could see that's to him what food's all about.
Yeah. And
that was the part that made me realise how important food is. And at Drake's, we have ingredients for every day.
Correct.
So everything that you get for whether you're at a restaurant, because the stuff that you're eating at the restaurant is pretty much come through the supermarket in some way or another. When you have all that food together and you combine it with alcohol, usually, not with everyone, but the memories that you get are from the how you're feeling at the time and how you're emotionally connected. And you're emotionally connected to the food.
Yeah.
And to everyone else. So he goes into it and you can tell it's very passionate to him.
Yeah, and that's a good example where I spoke to Pete Evans a while ago.
Pete, the chef.
Paleo Pete.
Paleo Pete.
And exactly what you say. I mean, he makes a conscious effort that obviously cooking is a big part of his life, being a chef. think he's still chefing.
Yeah.
But it's a family affair. It's with his wife and it's with his girls, and they cook together and they enjoy their food together, and it's all about being present. So spending time as a family, being present. They're not, one's cooking, one's on quickly trying to send an email while trying to talk to the daughter. It's being present and enjoying the time as a family.
Yeah, one of the best parts of my house is no phones at the table. Sounds like
cool, like that.
Like it sounds like, oh, that doesn't everyone do that? No, like we've put into, or if we're all together, that's when we have to talk like humans.
Yeah,
and I love it. And to me, that's a real good time together. So for me, I'm pretty passionate about the food.
Did your girls object to that originally?
No,
Are they phone
I didn't
people?
Give them a choice.
No.
Yeah, they are. We let them use the screens and whatnot. No problems. Because let's face it, that's technology. But in that environment, no. Mate, it's harder telling my wife, hey, babe, don't use the phone. Like, I'm taking a photo. And that's what Scarlett goes, I want to take photos. And she goes around, Next minute, she's like on the phone. I'm like, hey. So, yeah, it was pretty interesting. We had with the ski trip, it's a father-son trip. Like when you go, the fathers and sons say we do a trip every couple of years as a way to bond with your dads. And I used to be the youngest son. Now I'm the oldest son. And in that process, we went out with the guys and you'd have to put your phones in the middle. First one to grab their phone has to pay for the meal. Worked great. But this year, they just let it go rampant. And at one stage, all the old guys were all on their phones while all the young guys were sitting there going, hey, guys, what are you?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very. Because we were making a point of not to be on our phones because this was a time to talk, yet they were all on their phones. Disgraceful. The boomers. Bloody boomers on their phones. Boomers sitting there on their phones. Oh, okay, boomer.
Do you reckon they're on Facebook or Insta? What are the kids playing with these days? TikTok?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. My last TikTok, it blew up. My last one I did
went viral? My last TikTok
I got 2,000
went
views,
viral.
2,000 views. I picked up 30 subscribers. Yep, I'm going to the moon with that one. Anyway, moving on. So you talked about the blue zone. We talked about food and eating well. Jason talks about eating the rainbow and, hashtag eat the rainbow. I'd never actually looked at it like that before, but he was right about the colours in your food. I'd never looked at it like that before, but it's something I've been pushing a bit. And with the kids, even with what you're serving up the kids to show them that. Yeah. Do you do anything, do you do anything with your kids in regards to food-wise? Or
Noah, my eldest, he's 3 in June, and Ayla, the younger, she's like 6 months. So she just gurgles and farts and spews. So no, nothing with her.
Yeah, that's hard work.
But Noah's good. He's like I say, we say, do you want to sit at your table or do you want to sit at the big person table? And he sits up there and he eats with us and he eats what we eat. And we, exactly what you've said, you create a thing for it, an event out of it every night, and we just try to make sure we eat well, so he eats well, and that's probably just as important as well as the time together, making sure he eats clean.
Yeah, that's what I try the kids. It's a lot. It's almost impossible at a birthday party, but I'm a sauce addict, and I have to sneak around the corner and have sauce. And then duck back to the table and pretend I haven't had any. Or I'm not having chips. No, Dad's eating healthy. And then when they're on the couch, I'm eating chips. It's terrible. But I don't feel sorry for them because they're not the average kids. But I've told them that you need to keep trying new foods every time they come up.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I've said if you guys eat and show that you can eat the foods that we're eating, then maybe we can go to Vietnam. And they're like, yeah, okay, Dad, we want to go to Vietnam. Where is Vietnam? And you show them on the map. And they're like, oh, Formula One's in Vietnam this year, just saying. So
just hypothetically, just around that time.
2021 could be a good opportunity for them. But anyway, they're showing off because they're eating, because I've put a bit of a challenge. If you can eat more different types of food, because we sort of succumb to what they want. Oh, she doesn't like this and she doesn't like that. Might not like this that month, but could like it the next month. So you just need to keep cycling around. It's a vicious cycle.
As children are.
So I've got to ask, what is WOL life?
Yes, WOL life. No, it's whole of life, WOL. Yep. So that was, I think, is the linkage back to the wealth advice industry. So back in the dark ages, people used to buy these life insurance policies that were called whole of life policies, WOL. So that was how I kind of made the linkage back to the wealth business, was called whole of life coaching. And all that really is just talking about that. I sit down with people, individuals, and we go through their whole of life situation. And we just talk about goals and objectives, and we talk about roadblocks. We talk about fitness, we talk about business, we talk about health. So it's looking at their whole of life.
So it's the whole package.
Yeah, correct. It's not just sitting there going, I'm going to talk to you about your business, and that's what we're going to just focus on. It's talking about everything that feeds into their world.
Yeah, I found it quite interesting because it's really using the combination, which we were just saying that you're doing anyway. So it was not WOD.
No, I didn't even think of it that way.
So that's why that's actually what I thought it was for.
No, but I'm going to use that.
Yeah, I thought it was quite clever. So if you weren't, if you go back to all the things that you've done, if you had no money constraints, no time constraints, and could do anything on the planet, what would it be?
Skills, not a restriction.
Skills, not a restriction. Like I'm talking, let's say, anything you could possibly think of. What do you think? What would it be doing? Actually, that's a weird one because I'm leaving it open to as a profession or as a one-off thing you'd like to do in your life. So there's actually two questions there.
If we're being completely unrealistic, I've always wanted to be an F1 driver because I'm an F1 fan. Yeah. You are as well, surely being.
Oh, mate, that is what I would do.
Yes, correct, right?
Yeah.
What a life.
I'm living my life through Charles Leclerc, Orlando, bloody all of the young kids. I just it's amazing. That to me, imagine doing that.
Just what a life of luxury.
Thinking about it now, I've just forgotten about work. Just then.
Just moments of reflection.
Yeah, just what could
Daniel Ricciardo, what a life.
Oh, what could have been if I had $50 million and skills.
If there's any banks out there willing to lend us to start an F1 team.
Yeah, well.
JP can drive and I'll just put the wheels on and off.
It's interesting to see because you always think, you put me in the same car as him. It's interesting because everyone has always said that. I remember when Schumacher was killing it in the day, everyone said, if you put me in the same car, I'm sure I'd be. The reality is the Ferrari and the Mercedes, they're the top cars, and Red Bull's coming up. But they are elite cars over the rest of the field. So it will be interesting because they're putting a cap next year. Next year they're putting
changes next year.
Yeah, big changes next year. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. So you'd be a Formula One driver.
So I think I've always wanted to be an F1 driver, but then if you get semi-realistic, once you have kids, they say you lose the edge. So a lot of F1 drivers, once they have families, are on their way out because they say that psychologically a lot of the drivers then will realise this moment in their mind that they've got something to live for. They've got family, whereas when they're single, they're like whatever, and they will take any inch they can get. But once they have kids, apparently they lose that instinct, which is interesting. Fun fact Friday.
Not for Schumacher.
For Thursday, except for Schumacher.
So he was
a unique individual
until he spends his whole life being on the limit and has an accident skiing. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but I agree. There's no doubt.
If I didn't do that, to be completely honest, I think if I could do anything, I would have always liked to have started a children's charity, and so to run my own foundation or my own charity for kids. So like a Make-A-Wish Foundation or something like that. So that would be probably my other thing that is in the realistic realm. Other than other students.
Oh, you can do that now.
Well, I can.
But you just will be broke.
Correct.
But you'll be nourished with happiness.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That doesn't put food on the table.
It doesn't put food on It doesn't put food on the table. So.
If I came into Drake's and I said I need some food, but look at what I do. Love me.
That's a great thought. We've got our Community Dollars program. You can sign up.
Tell me more, please. No, look, I think that would be my other thing. As a realistic thing, where my career and my life goes over time, I think that's a big passion for mine. Is anything to do with kids. I've done a lot of volunteer work and charity work with Make-A-Wish and Starlight.
Yep.
That's my ride I've got coming up next week is for Make-A-Wish.
So what's this year? So someone said, maybe JP could do a 700-kilometre ride with me.
Yeah.
My electric scooter won't go that far.
It was a good idea at the time.
700K. So where are you going for that?
Yeah, so Make-A-Wish are doing a charity ride. We start in Albury, Wodonga next Tuesday morning. and then we finish up, which is basically, I think, on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. And then we finish up in Fed Square 5 days later. So 700 clicks in 5 days. I don't know why I said yes. I could have just donated. But it's going to be good fun. It's going to be good fun, sort of. It's that whole push thing, the mental thing, the physical thing. Maybe that's why I decided to do it. But, we'll see how we go, right?
Well, I'm assuming that's had a little bit to do with it.
But that would be my thing.
Okay, cool. Got it. What do you wish you'd had known now that you wish you'd known when you'd first started out?
Coronavirus was going to come around. And I would have stocked up on toilet paper and sanitizer.
And had a hand sanitizer shop that would have been closed at the end of this week.
Yep. But geez, I would have made some profits for it.
You would have been killing it if you'd been picking it.
Yeah, I would have cleaned out all the toilet rolls out of every Drake store, and I would have put them all in my own store. Yeah. That's
what they just tripled the price?
It's interesting. And let's not go into coronavirus and toilet stories.
No, it is interesting.
It's chaos out there.
Because it's actually good for tagging coronavirus on that podcast. Coronavirus. And then YouTube's just got that algorithm, just added to it. Bing. Yes. All right.
There's the tip for the day. Look, I think what was the question if I knew something?
If you knew something now, like you're a whole 39 years of age, if you knew something now that you could tell, not you, but or like someone wanting to, figure out what they want to do. They've just finished school.
Yep.
And they're like, fuck, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if you follow Gary Vee at all.
I do.
And he's got a very valid point of like the kids of today, if they know how to use Google, then why do you need to go to uni to study something that will more than likely be outdated in 5 to 10 years' time? If you know how to access something, whether it's on YouTube or on Google or something like that quickly, you already have the secret to life where things will be at your fingertips. So he sort of says, well, just go do it. If you want to do something, just do it. And it's a great attitude to have about just trying to do something. I want to do this, I want to do it, just do it. And don't worry about the repercussions. He says anyone can sit there and earn $200-300 a week by selling something on eBay. For instance, this is his examples, right?
Yeah.
But most people want more money. And then it gets to a stage where how happy are you with the money that you earn? Yeah. Or can you go do that yourself and be extremely happy but not have much money? That's what he says.
Yeah.
In life, you'll be somewhere in that range. It just depends where you want to sit. So what could you tell someone that doesn't know what they want to do, or they're just thinking, what could I do now?
A tip I was thinking of, and if I could say it to myself, if profanities are allowed, then I'll be saying, slow the fuck down. My whole career, if I reflect upon it and I look at people around me, people jump from job to job to job to job. I can get a $5,000 increase, $2,000 increase, $7,000 increase. And they always want to be CEO, but they don't want to do anything in between. And I look at myself when I started when I was in 2003, 2004, and I want to be at the head of the table, but I didn't want to do any of the crap in between. So I was like, how do I circumnavigate all of that to get to a senior role?
Yep.
And everyone wants to get to that senior role without doing any of the work in between. And it's not till I get to now where I'm at, and like from 39, 40 next year, having done this for 16, 17 years, and you can't avoid the work in between. And it's that work in between where you learn and grow and get an understanding that makes you a better leader. So I look back like on your journey, right? Like it's not like you were born, went to school, and now director of Drake's.
Yeah.
It was pushing trolleys, there was stacking shelves, there was understanding, management of division to the stores and going into state, and then here we are today.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I say to everyone that I kind of come across in their career journey is don't jump around. Don't try to skip to the end. Learn all the stuff in the middle. Understand it takes time, but the rewards will be there at the end.
That is great advice.
At least one nugget of gold.
That is great. I mean, it's so true though. And people don't see the end product. And there are miracles out there. Like I'll say Snapchat.
Yeah.
Like 2 years, $1 billion, 9 people. Like that happens, and people see that and go, oh, that could be me. But, the same thoughts were about Facebook. But, there's lots of work that went in tens of years and years, over 10 years to get to an end example. But it's true. Everyone wants the end product but isn't willing to put in the hard work to get it.
Yeah.
And, you've well articulated. Amazing. If there was one thing... If there was one thing that you could do that would impact the world, what would it be?
So putting coronavirus jokes to the side.
You can say anything about coronavirus if you want. Accelerating the coronavirus.
Yes.
No, there's one thing.
Buying the company that owns a vaccine.
If there's one thing that you could do that would have an impact, I just sounded like
a New Zealander.
Jason Roberts is a Kiwi, by the way. An impact. An impact.
An impact on the coronavirus.
I'll laugh if he listens to this because he will definitely say those words back to me. If there's one thing that could do that and have an impact on the world, what would it be?
Sounds like I'm standing up here for Miss Universe.
Yeah, it's not like Miss Universe, but it's. Like, for instance, for us, we talk about packaging and all these things that we need to work on to make the environment a better place.
Yeah.
And we're slowly getting there in regards to the way that South Australia is quite an early adopter of us getting rid of single-use bags. New South Wales have literally months ago only got rid of single-use bags, and South Australia is over 10 years ago, I think now. So,
God, is it 10 years?
Yeah, I think it is. So we're doing little bits, and now you're going to work on the film that goes over the meat to make sure that that's compostable or a minimum biodegradable. They're the little things that we work on. But when you look at our footprint here in Australia compared to China's footprint or America's footprint of how much pollution's there, we're quite ahead of the curve, where people think we're quite behind here, but when you look at some other countries around the world, we're miles ahead.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you think that you would like to do? This is probably more your chance to show your greenie side, but I don't care what you say. I don't. It's that's the sort of the question was sort of what would be the one thing that you could do to impact on. It could be the environment, but it could be on people.
Yeah. Look, I think. Sure, I am passionate about the environment. Not passionate is maybe not the right word. I definitely think what we're doing to the environment is complete madness and we need to take change. But I'm no Greta Thunberg or whatever her name is, right? So I'll leave that to her to preach to the masses. I think the thing that I would love to be involved with is, you look around globally, the US is a prime example of this. And the impacts that we see of bullying is just phenomenal. We have to look at things like gun violence in the UK. Why are so many of these school shootings and stuff happening? We have to have a look at youth suicide, right? And so much of it comes back to bullying. If there is a way in some form, shape or method that I could change the world to can't we all just get along? But a bit more love. A bit more love and just, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I think the bullying thing and is a thing that globally we need to do something about. It's getting worse and worse, and social media has a huge element to play in that. How do you monitor that? How do you vet that? Good luck, to the creators of Facebook trying to block that stuff. I hear too many stories now of kids getting bullied at school and they go home and it happens again on Facebook. Yeah. To me, that's the one thing. If there's one thing I could change in this world, I want to prevent that. I never want my kids to have to go to school and experience bullying. Yeah, that came up last podcast as well. Yeah, right. Where one of the biggest things that he said that for advice for children is that he doesn't let the kids aren't allowed to be in their rooms on their screens. Yeah. So he's got young kids all under 12 or something like that. So they're not allowed to be in their rooms on screen. So I'd never thought of that, but that makes sense, right? Yeah. Great idea. So simple thing that you can start there. But you're right. It's a serious thing. And he
he was talking about the software to tell parents, hey, this has been looked at, this has been looked at, this has been looked at. But the reality is that it can take any form. It can be comments. It can be something said at school.
Yeah.
It can be notes left at school. And then it's relentless. It comes on the phone when the kids soon get a phone, or they don't even have an iPhone. They have a iPod. So they still can get connected to the net. So I agree. It's a major issue. And
it's getting worse.
People see Instagram and think that's how life is. Everyone's life is perfect. And the reality is it ain't like that.
Yeah.
And it's really, to me, I don't understand how people can't see that. But maybe as a young, impressionable kid that you can get really wrapped up in the fact that it needs to look perfect. And I can't post something unless it's perfect. So I think everyone has a role to play in that game.
100%.
So that's awesome. Great advice. If you were a superhero, not saying that you're not.
Leveraging.
Okay. Yeah. So if you were a superhero,
yes,
what would your superpower be?
This is Miss Universe.
I don't think there's any superheroes at Miss Universe.
No.
But if they're listening, you're doing a great job.
They're changing the world, people.
Yeah.
Good on you guys.
Yeah.
What would my superpower?
Work on cyberbullying. Well, maybe. I mean, there might be something there. Maybe world peace. Maybe more love.
More love.
Maybe a bit more love. Maybe a bit more love. So, haven't got all day for this, by the way.
Yeah, no. Superpower would be, I think, X-ray vision's always been pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be a cool one. Yeah.
You?
I don't know. I haven't actually thought of this.
Just throw it back at you.
It'd be pretty simple. I just read other people's minds.
Yes, that's cool.
Then I think I pretty much know where I stand. At least I'd go home and I know exactly what my wife was trying to tell me.
You know what everyone wants?
Yeah. I could actually just read her mind. I go, yeah, I got it, mate. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I retract mine on that.
All right, you can have it. I never thought of it though, but we will wrap it up.
Yes.
But this one stumps a lot of people.
God, if the other two already have.
So I will wrap it up. So if you died and came back as a board game, what board game would you come back as?
Where do you come up with this, JP?
So I can just enlighten you with So Flavia, she said she'd come back as a board game called Risk.
Yeah.
Where you try and take over the world. For me, I think I'd come back as Scrabble because you don't quite know what you're going to get, and sometimes it's going to be good and sometimes it's going to be shit. So good points, bad points. So that was me. I can't even remember. Winslow, what did he want to come back as? I can't even remember. What was James?
I can't remember.
Huh? What?
Cards Against Humanity.
Nah, wasn't
What was that?
I don't know. No one's come back as Cards Against Humanity. They've thought it but didn't deliver on it. I'd never heard of Risk, but Monopoly. Yeah. James said he'd come back as Monopoly.
Yeah, nice.
It's hard because if you don't play board games, it's hard. I get it. That's why this is the most hard-hitting question we have.
And look, and to give you a very serious response to a question, Hungry Hungry Hippos, I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
That's a great game. And I'm hungry. I'm always hungry. So
we gathered that. And so Hungry Hippo. Hungry Hippo is the other JP's game of choice. That is cool. You know what? I reckon that's what James said.
Then who picked Monopoly?
No.
Or was it Jason who said that? Someone
It was Jason Roberts said Hungry Hippo. No shit.
I thought it'd be solo.
Oh my God. Hang on. I want to actually look that up. That no shit. I reckon. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Anyway, so you can edit that part out, I think, Ollie. So just get that last part. So moral of the story, thanks, JP, for coming up and being involved with podcast number 8. We're having a ball. You had lots of information to give out. You do a fair bit around the wealth creation side to help people to longevity their life because people are all living longer. And I really appreciate you coming in and downloading some of that information to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, JP, for having me, mate. Good fun as always.